Charan Kirvan Sadhu Bhagat Pate Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Simate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Sunya Bhati Paschatya Deshatarine Omajnana Timirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandehang Shri Guru Sejuta Padakamalam Shri Gurung Vaisnavamscha Shri Rupang Sagrajatan Sahagana Raghunatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitang Sabadutang Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Visakanvitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesa Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vindavadisvari Visabhanu Sate Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanang Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Binda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 4, Chapter 25, the characteristics of King Puranjana, text number 19. Everybody please repeat after me. Nanaranyamiga bryatair anabadhe muni vratai ahutang manyate panto yatra kokila kujitai nanaranyamiga bratae anabadhe muni vratai ahutang manyate panto yatra kokila kujitai nanaranyamiga vratae anabadhe muni vratai ahutang manyate panto yatra kokila kujitai Anaranyamiga Bratai Nabadhe Muni Pratai Nandamani Branto Auta Gotena Kuchitai Namanta Vajapatai Nabadhe Muni Pratai Ahutam Manyate Ujitai Nanaranya Magabratai Audamanyate Brato Mataji. Nabadhe Muti Bratai Okay, just a second. What time is it now in India? In the morning? Some devotees are watching. They're up real early, or they did not sleep. I hope they slept a little bit. Word for word meaning, nana, various, aranya, forest, mriga, animals, vratai, with groups, anabhade, in the matter of non-violence, muni vratai, like the great sages, ahutam, as if invited, manyate, thinks, panta, passenger, yatra, where, kokila, of cuckoos, kujitai, by the cooing. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. In such an atmosphere, even the animals of the forest became non-violent and non-envious like great sages. Consequently, the animals did not attack anyone. Over and above everything was the cooing of the cuckoos. Any passenger passing along that path was invited by that atmosphere to take rest in that nice garden. Everybody please repeat after me. In such an atmosphere, even the animals of the forest became non-violent and non-envious like great sages. Consequently, the animals did not attack anyone. over and above everything, was the cooing of the cuckoos. Any passenger passing along that path was invited by that atmosphere to take rest in that nice garden. Purport. A peaceful family with wife and children is compared to that peaceful atmosphere of the forest. Children are compared to nonviolent animals. Sometimes, however, wives and children are called swajanakya dasyu, burglars in the name of kinsmen. A man earns his livelihood with hard labor, but the result is that he is plundered by his wife and children, exactly as a person in a forest is attacked by some thieves and burglars who take his money. Nonetheless, in family life, the turmoil of wife and children appears to be like the cooing of the cuckoos in the garden of family life. Being invited by such an atmosphere, the person who is passing through such a blissful family life desires to have his family with him at all costs. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta Purport, Canto 4, Chapter 25, Text 19 of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the characteristics of King Puranjana. Nanaranyamiga vratair anabadhe muni vratai ahutang manyate panto yatra kokila kujitai. This is ironic. The story of King Puranjana in this episode from the Srimad Bhagavatam entails about the story of every living entities. It's not just there is one King Puranjana. Actually, every one of us is a King Puranjana. Puranjana means the living entity within this body. The living entity is embodied within this material body, which is composed of material elements, 5 gross and 3 subtle elements. Bhumir apo nalo bhayu kamano budir evacha ahankara iti yame bina prakriti ashtida. Earth, water, fire, air, ether. They are the gross material elements everyone has. And there are 3 subtle elements comprised of mind, intelligence, and ego. So, Narad Muni is giving this story to King Barhishat. King Barhisat, he wants to perform sacrifice to be economically for his material benefit. But then Narad Muni gave this story indirectly so as not to hurt his ego. Usually truth hurts. If you want to tell something to somebody and it is truthful, and if you don't have that kind of relationship, a close relationship whatever you will say, there's a saying also that if you tell or you instruct a fool, what will happen? He'll become angry because he's a fool. So, as not to hurt the mind or the ego of the king, he was telling this story indirectly that actually you are this King Puranjana. And not just King Barhisat is King Puranjana. That means all of us. The Srimad Bhagavatam is so blunt. It tells what is spade is a spade. It tells us directly what needs to be discarded. It tells us exactly what needs to be improved. So King Puranjana is that living entity who became attached to his body in the conditioned state. This is our situation. We're attached to this body, which is city of how many gates? 9 gates. This body is a city of 9 gates. 2 nostrils, 2 eyes, 2 ears, 1 mouth, 1 genitals, and 1 rectum. So, somehow or other, this is our predicament in the material world. We don't want to give up this material body. We're so attached. That's why we don't want to die. We're so attached that we want to live as long as possible. We were talking about last night about the conditioned state of a living entity who wants to remain young as possible. Nowadays there is what you call anti-aging store. The anti-aging store means it's a store where you can buy different paraphernalias, how to look young, younger than your age. Have you seen a movie star looking very old? No. Maybe sometimes, because they will not use any artificial means, no makeup, not tinting their hair or having a facelift. So they will look young. Yeah, very often. But yes, that's true, because the soul is eternal. It doesn't grow old, but the body will change from time to time. As long as we have this body, is the cause of miseries and sufferings. So along with the body though, as long as we have this body, then it's not possible to maintain our life to be here eternally. The body will perish after some time. When the organs are not going to function anymore, and when our next life is already ready. As long as we are not having the next body ready, then we are still going to be in this body. And then when we die, the soul will go on to the next body, along with the mind, intelligence, and ego. The mind, intelligence, and ego travels with the conditioned souls in as many species of life there are. 8,400,000 species of life. But the soul has a very, very friendly, unknown friend. That is the Paramatma, who dictates, who gives us inspiration and direction, but only those whose senses are fully under control, the mind is peaceful, then we'll be able to hear the mind's dictations. So here, in this sloka, it is clearly mentioned here that any passenger passing along the path was invited by the atmosphere to take rest in the nice garden. So the passenger again is the soul, and having come to the place where it is very peaceful. It says here, the animals of the forest became non-violent and nonenvious like great sages. And Prabhupada in the purport has compared this to a peaceful family with wife and children going to a forest. If the family members are spiritually inclined, if the family members having Krishna as the center of their life, it is compared to a very peaceful atmosphere. That's why it says, grihasta. Those who stays at home, they are called householders. Grihasta. It's an ashram. In the four orders in spiritual life, there is brahmachari, or the student life, where they are dedicated in cultivation of knowledge, and they are celibate. The same with the vanaprastha, that means retired life. Typically, at the age of 50, family life, the husband and wife will travel different places of holy pilgrims for cultivation, and eventually learn how to become fully detached in family life. And then there is the sannyas order, where the husband at the age of 75 will renounce completely the family. No more attachment. Those three ashrams, they are meant to be celibate, no connection with women. Now there is an ashram whereby one is allowed to have a family. In the Bhagavad Gita, it says, sex I am not contrary to religion. So in the family life, one can have sex, but not like cats and dogs, Prabhupada says. If one would like to have a child, yes, it's allowable, but then the parents, the husband and wife, before wanting to have a child, will perform Garbhadan Samskar. Garbhadan Samskar means preparation before sex, that the husband and wife will chant minimum 50 rounds of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Almost 7 hours, at least. Now, if you're ready to do that, then no problem. It's like the mind of Vasudeva and Devaki. The purity of their heart. The mind is synonymous to the heart. The purity of their heart, and the result, Lord Krishna. Of course, we cannot be a Devaki and Vasudev that those positions are already taken. But this is just an example given in the Bhagavad Gita. Srila Prabhupada says in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So now, if somehow in the Grihastha life, that means an ashram of responsibility, an ashram whereby one should learn how to become detached, is being expressed or experienced or has been done properly, then it is peaceful. Krishna being the center of the activities of all the members of the family, then it is considered to be a peaceful atmosphere of the forest. Children are compared to nonviolent animals. Sometimes the children, if they become spoiled, it's what you call spoiled brat. Yeah? They will want something, and what they want actually is harmful for them. It's an excess. It's too much. Not necessary, needed. But the husband or the father and the mother would like to make their child happy. As long as you're happy, my dear child, I give you everything, whatever. Because when you're happy, materially, I will also be happy. This is the reason. Typically, this is the materialist condition. But a devotee is satisfied, even a minimum, whatever they have, they'll be satisfied. But let's say a child born with a silver spoon in his mouth. You've heard of that expression, right? Born with a silver spoon in his mouth. That means wealthy family. And the family will spoil the child. Whatever the child likes, whatever the child wants, it'll be given, it'll be provided. So the problem is that they become, as Prabhupada used the word here, sometimes. However, wives and children are called swajanakya dashu, burglars in the name of kinsmen. Prabhupada says, if a thief, if a burglar entered your house and steal your valuables, you'll be very angry. Is that correct? You want to protect all your valuables in a very, very safe place. Now, if the wife will steal your money, and if the child also steal, pickpocket your money, oh, that is very nice. I love my wife, I love my children. Okay, no problem. You can have. You can have. So out of love, even though it may seem to be wrong, but that will be the cause of miseries. That love actually is not really love. That is sense enjoyment. It's like daylight burglary. Open. I don't mind. It's okay. My wife wants something. Okay. No problem. For herself, that's okay. Or my child, okay. he wants something else, no problem. He can have. Is that all right? Is that admissible? Yes or no? Yes or no? Of course no. Because that could be a poison. The child may go and buy drugs. The child may go and hurt himself. And the wife may use that for her other lover besides the husband. We don't know. And that's the fact of life. That is Srimad Bhagavatam. It tells you the truth. No flattery. As Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Thakur says, one who flatters you, he is your enemy. And one who criticizes you, he is your friend. That's right. So we should be happy if someone is telling us the truth, how we should be aligning ourselves, how we can improve. We should be thankful. Thank you, Mataji. You're telling the truth, yes. And if it's not true, why should we be angry? If it's not true, if the criticism is good, especially what? Constructive criticism. There is what you call destructive criticism, just to pull you down, criticize you, so that the one who criticizing you will be on the top of you. Does not really help. So, sometimes, however, wives and children are called swajanakya dashu, burglars in the name of kinsmen. This is dashu. Dashu means burglar, a thief. Swajanakya means family members. Name of kinsmen. In the name of kinsmen. So the father or the husband will work so hard all day long. And then at night, according to the Srimad Bhagavatam, will enjoy sleep and sex only. Working very hard for a little bit of sleep and some sex. And then the next day, do it again. Working so hard for a living just to provide for the family members who are averse in spiritual advancement. So that means they are burglars. They are taking away. They're sucking up the life whereby one should be maintaining the family to become Krishna conscious. But they're averse. They're in the opposite. Just imagine living in a family like that. Are you going to be happy or are you going to celebrate every day? Of course not. Of course not. It's better you run away. No, you cannot run away. Otherwise, that's why most of the family, they have what you call divorce. And even before divorce, there's what you call separate. They separate. They live separately. I know. Even some devotees whose wife is not a devotee, they live in the same house and they're not talking with each other for years. That is really painful. And he was asking me, Maharaj, what shall I do? Especially if you have children, who's going to suffer? All over the world, there's so many single mothers. All over the world. This is very prevalent right now, especially in the Philippines. Is it true here in Australia also? Single mothers? Yeah. The Philippines is number 1 in the world. Single mother, teenage single mother. Now, it's not something to be proud of because I'm from the Philippines. But that is very, very hurtful to hear. It's very, very painful to hear something like that. Who suffers actually are the children. So, sometimes, it says here, a man earns his livelihood with hard labor, but the result is that he is plundered by his wife and children, exactly as a person in the forest is attacked by some thieves and burglars who takes his money. Yes. Actually, the burglar is our mind. If the mind is uncontrolled, if the mind is not thinking of Krishna, if the mind is always thinking of sense enjoyment, then being in this human form of life, I am being taken by these burglars, the mind, the intelligence, the ego of my propensity to make this my last life and go back home, back to Godhead. Do you follow? Who are the burglars? The mind, the intelligence, and ultimately our false ego. Misidentifying this body as the self. This is allegory. This is what we call allegory. First, it says that the wives and the children, they are the thieves sometimes. But then, ultimately, it became the mind, intelligence, and the false ego. That's why it says in the Bhagavatam, and also the first aphorism of the Vedanta Sutra, Atato Brahma Jignasa. Now that I have come into this human form of life, now is the time to inquire about the Absolute. If in this human form of life I will miss that opportunity to become self-realized, to be Krishna conscious, therefore I'm also called as Atmaha. What's Atmaha means? Killer of the soul. Well, how can you be killed? It says in the Bhagavad Gita, the soul cannot be cut into pieces, cannot be burned by fire, cannot be withered by the wind, wet by water. It's spiritual by nature. How can you kill that which is spiritual by nature? Atmaha means we will miss this opportunity. Human form of life is meant for self-realization. Prabhupada says in one of the purports, this body means sense enjoyment. The first time I've heard, what? This body means sense enjoyment. I thought human form of life is meant for self-realization. That's true. This body means it is sense enjoyment because we acquired this body from our previous karma, from our desires. That's why we're all different. Even Siamese twins, they are different. The parents can tell who is who. We all have different eyes, different nose, different ears, different mouth, different bodily forms because we want to enjoy. And this body is awarded to us by the material energy to fulfill that desire. So, now that we have come to this human form of life, now is the time to inquire about the Absolute. Otherwise, we will miss the boat. Which means we'll take birth again, next life, in different species of life. And we'll have a different form of body again. We'll have a different nose, different eyes, different 9 gates. Same passenger, but different gates. So, we have to somehow or other, as Prabhupada says, make this as our last life. It is possible. It's possible. So, in the beginning, yes, especially when the children are still young, it looks like they don't have karma to be burnt. Yeah, we have a nice child here. Very, very fortunate, growing up in Krishna consciousness. Seems to be no karma, isn't it? Just wait. When she grew up, and if she's been trained by the parents to be Krishna conscious, that is her great fortune. Like Prabhupada says, we're fortunate enough to be born in a family of Vaishnava. He compared himself to his Guru Maharaj. Both he and Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur took birth in the family of Vaishnava. First grain, prasadam, mahapasad, mahapasada govinde. It's very, very fortunate that these children, as Prabhupada says, in the future, our children will be so powerful. They are the future of our society. So if we take care of them nicely, not just to pray to Lord Krishna for them to be Krishna conscious, but pray to Lord Krishna that they became an instrument, powerful, to spread Krishna consciousness. That is a higher prayer. So powerful, Prabhupada says also that a Vaishnava, he can liberate the entire universe himself. A genuine Vaishnava. So it is possible only if we take care of our children, if Krishna is the center, not to think that they are our property. We are caretakers only. If we mold their life in such a way that they become Krishna conscious, all the karmas that may incur to them in the future will be burned into ashes and they will become pure devotees. Then life will pass through in such a way that the blissful family will be there. It says here, being invited by such an atmosphere, the person who is passing through such a blissful family life desires to have his family with him at all costs. Again, the family is the mind, the intelligence, and the ego. That is what you call allegory. If we're able to sharpen our intelligence, read Srimad Bhagavatam every day, the family, externally, family, the children, will have every day at least get together for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, do some kirtan, read from Srila Prabhupada's books like Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam, offer everything to Krishna, including what they eat. Before eating, offer to Krishna. Have Sangha amongst the family members. Come to the mandir whenever they can. What else is needed? Huh? Well, prasad, I included that. That's number one. That was number one. Everything is complete, isn't it? Huh? There is nothing else needed. So if the mind is always thinking of Krishna, it says in the Bhagavad Gita, even twice, Manmana babamad bhakto madhyajina mam namaskuru. Twice mentions. Prabhupada says, it's not possible to control the mind. No. Mind is always active. Even while we're sleeping, the mind is active. That's why we dream. The only way how we can control the mind is to think of Krishna. That's the only way. And the intelligence be sharpened. And the ego, ego will think that I'm not this body, I'm servant, and I'm an instrument. It's like every day, as soon as we wake up, we should pray, "Oh Krishna, make this day be a Krishna conscious day for me, and let me become an instrument of yours to help spread Krishna consciousness." This is real ego. Then our family, not just externally, family inside, will become very peaceful and happy, being in an atmosphere like that in the forest, where you can hear the birds and the cuckoos singing sweetly. That means you will hear the Paramatma, and you will know what to do and what not to do, and be protected. Hare Krishna. I'll stop here. What time is it? Almost 9 o'clock. I'll leave some time for question and answer. Anybody like to say something? Any reflection? Comments? Yes. Speak louder, please. Yes, we hear these instructions from Srimad Bhagavatam. But you know why? Because we're thinking of sense enjoyment. That's why the first rule in spiritual life is to not think of sense enjoyment. One becomes bewildered. When we think of sense enjoyment, that means we are in the bodily platform. While this very moment we're talking, this is spiritual subject matter. We're not speaking on the bodily platform here. We're speaking on the spiritual platform. So when you go out, always think that you are a spirit soul, that you are not this body. And this body is meant for cultivating spiritual advancement. As soon as you think of material objects to achieve for sense enjoyment, not for Krishna, you forget. But what I told you, I don't think you'll ever forget. You will remember this even next year when I come back. Okay? So that is the main difference why you forget. Because you think of sense enjoyment. But we are very fortunate that whenever we associate with devotees, they keep us being reminded of what is the goal of life. That's why association of Vaishnavas, of devotees, are the most important. Even the 6 Goswamis, of course, they're in the Uttama platform. They are Nitya Siddhas, but they associate with each other to show us examples. From the most neophyte stage up to the topmost level of Bhakti, association is always there. That's why it is utmost importance to associate with devotees. Of course, there are different levels of devotees also. You have to choose. And if possible also, search for those who are more advanced than you are. At least amongst your peers also. But try to avoid those devotees who are used in criticizing others. That is the most detrimental in your spiritual life. You must have met some of them. Yeah? Always finding faults. Always looking for mistakes. The Prabhupada says though that the managers of the temple, their duty is to look for mistakes so that everything will be improved, can be improved. They're not looking for mistakes for the sake of looking for mistakes. They are there to rectify, to clear, to clean up. Yes? So we should be like that. We should be like honeybees, not crows. Honeybees, they're always looking for nectar. Crows, they're always looking for garbage. Any other points? Speak louder, please. Mm-hmm. That's what the Veda says. I did not say. I just repeated. Huh? But that is not your duty anymore. You already fulfill your duty to your children. Who's supposed to raise them up? You or your children? I know, but you have to be also thoughtful of yourself. The greatest bondage in the material world is family affection, family attachment. This is what the Bhagavatam says. Okay, I'm saying it because I'm repeating it, right? That's the greatest bondage in the material world. That's why we keep taking birth repeatedly again and again and again. There are two things, affection and attachment. It's natural to love your children or your grandchildren, but don't be attached to them. It'll be like Puranjana. Puranjana became a woman next life. Yes. The husband who is attached to woman, Bhagavatam says, next life, he'll become a woman. We should be attached to Krishna. Then we'll go back home, back to Godhead. As we mentioned earlier, Krishna should be the center of one's family. Krishna is the owner of whatever you have. You may have a big villa, big house. You're not the proprietor there. You're just the caretaker. Your children, they're not your property. Your grandchildren, yes, it says in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada is quoted also, that the grandson is more dearer to the grandfather than his own son. That's natural. Hey, that's my part of my blood. But only in this body. Only in this body you have relation with your family. But after this body, that's it. Because of karma, you were put together. Because of karma, you were put together either to enjoy or suffer the same. After this, no more. After this lifetime, when you die, you still called her your grandchild? No more. So we should prepare for next life. And that is the problem. Dharmaraj asked Yudhishthira Maharaj, what is the most amazing thing in this world? Yeah? What is the most amazing thing in this world is that you've seen your friends died, you've seen your family members died, you've seen your parents died, but you don't think that you will die. Why? Because again, we're attached to this body. But we're going to die. That is absolute knowledge. But what are we going to be next life? That depends on our activities. Whatever we do every day, we are actually molding our next life. The future is now, and now is the future. Okay? All right. Any other points? Yes? Speak louder.
My question is, I live in ashram under neighbors, and as you said, truth is bitter.
Truth is bitter, yeah.
Sometimes
That's why when they give medicine to the child, they give candy first. It's bitter. Medicine is bitter. Yes.
as you said, truth is bitter. Sometimes the consciousness, or level of consciousness of our mind is so bad, but since we have to be transparent, and being transparent is the main risk, and the devotee is very difficult because
Revealing one's mind.
because the mind is very low.
Yeah, you don't want to show your dirty laundry, so to speak. Yes.
Yes, and that feels like very difficult to express. claim that it's really serious devotee of the
So what to do?
first of all, what is the reason behind that? And second is what to do.
Well, a genuine devotee, he reveals his mind to a person whom he feels he trusts and have faith. So that's why in Krishna consciousness, it is very important to have a good friend. Just like in the material world, there's what you call BFF. What is BFF? Best friend forever. So in devotional life, you should have BDFF. Best devotee friend forever. Now that friend could be on the other side of the world, or it could be right there with you. This is one of the loving exchanges between devotees, as Rupa Goswami says, revealing one's mind in confidence and taking advice. This is a must. Do you think I'm a sannyasi? I don't have to tell someone if I'm wanted to make a decision? No. Coming here in Australia, I have to tell someone. I don't say, hey, I want to go. No. There's so many layers. Wanted to make sure that this decision that I'm making will be beneficial for me to be more Krishna conscious. I don't do things whimsically and suffer for the consequence in the end. So it is very important to reveal your mind. It's false ego if you say, I can do it by myself. I don't need anybody in my life. That is hallucination. That is illusion. No. So from the very beginning of our spiritual life, in the middle, in the end, and forever, we need someone. We need a guide. We need a mentor. It's like for us, our spiritual master is not here anymore. He passed away almost 2 years ago. Does it mean that I don't have to ask anyone who is superior? No. Now is the most important time to do it. I cannot say, oh, I don't have any more my spiritual master, so who cares? I will do anything and everything I want to do in my life. No. No. So it's very important. Only in the bodily platform, bodily platform means mental platform. When Prabhupada says in his books, one who is in the bodily platform, he is in illusion. That bodily platform means mental platform. Because the mind is still considered as part of this material body. The mind is the connection between the soul to the sense objects. I repeat, the mind is the connection between the soul and the sense objects. That's why we have to control the mind. If the mind is not controlled, then we will be in trouble. If the mind is under control, that means thinking of Krishna, then we'll be peaceful. And without being peaceful, you cannot be happy. Bhagavad Gita. When someone says, I'm happy, that means his mind is peaceful. Not like material happiness. They are disturbed. They're not really happy. They are disturbed because their senses are uncontrolled. So how can you be happy? How your mind is peaceful if your senses are uncontrolled? And how can you be happy if your mind is disturbed? Only devotees are shanti, peaceful. Their only anxiety is how can I do more seva for Krishna. That is their anxiety. How can I do more to serve Krishna and his devotees? The materialist, their anxiety is money and women. Sense enjoyment. So how can they be happy? No, a devotee can live in a very small space and eat khichdi, no problem, only khichdi and a little bit of dal and, rice. Yeah? And he'll be satisfied because he's serving Krishna. Yes? Anything else? We stop here now? I'm sure your anxiety of what's next, prasadam, right? Okay, we stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki Jai Gaur Sitana Premanande Hari Om Tat Sat Dhanyavad. Hare Krishna. Hari Hari. What are we doing here? Hare Krishna.